God is giving the Ten Commandments to the nation of Israel through Moses. This is Exodus chapter 20, and in verse 12, he says to the nation of Israel through Moses, honor your father and mother, so that your days will be prolonged in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Of course, this is to Israel. The land he is giving them is Canaan. This promise is particular to the nation of Israel, though I think the principle still applies today. And honoring your mother and father, founded in the character of God. Remember, anytime we read an Old Testament law, we ask, what does this reveal about God? That children should honor their fathers and their mothers. Well, we think all the way back to the creation account, where God created man and woman. He created man and woman to rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, to steward creation. He gave them the earth. We see there in Genesis chapters 1 and 2 that the man was the picture of God in relation to his creation, and that the woman was the picture of creation, especially humanity, in relationship with God. And so the man and the woman are to be honored among creation like God is honored. And so for the children in Moses' day, that meant children, honor your mother and father. Why? Because this is right. They are to be the focal point of the household. The mother and father are, not the children. Why are they to be the focal point of the household? Because they together are the image of God. The man, a picture of God in relationship to his creation, and the woman, a picture of creation, especially humanity, in relationship to God. So they are to be honored. They are the focal point of the household. Now, today, in our time, this law in the Old Testament actually works out to be the same thing, like based on the character of God and rooted in the creation story. We still today, for the same reason, are to honor our mothers and fathers. Why? They are to be the focal point of the household. The thing that doesn't carry over part for part is the promise, so that it will prolong your days, so that your days will be prolonged in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Well, God hasn't given most modern day people the land of Canaan to live in. That's still something that belongs to Israel. Israel still has it. Their days have been prolonged there. So God has kept his promise, whether or not Israel has succeeded in honoring the fathers and mothers. But the mandate, the command, the instruction to honor our mothers and fathers remains. In society today, we have created quite the environment for children to be rebellious. We have made the children the focal point of the home rather than the parents being the focal point of the home. We have placed all of our energy and all of our the practical ways that we do things and live. We have centered that on the children of the home rather than making the parents the focal point. And instead of making children's schedules revolve around the lives of the parents, all of a sudden it's the parents' schedules revolving around the lives of the children. So we're doing quite the opposite of this in our time, for the most part, in the Western world. This instruction in Scripture is not an instruction for children to always perfectly obey parents at all times, no matter what. It is not an excuse for parents to be oppressive or to exasperate their children. It is a statement of honor. Children, honor your parents. Respect your parents and the roles that God has given them. Here in this verse, the man and the woman of the household are presented together with equal status, which we also saw in Genesis chapter 1. Whatever roles they have are meant to be complementary, right? And they are meant to serve the purpose of being a picture of God in relationship to his creation, so that when the child watches his parents, so that when the child sees his or her parents living a godly life, being that example, being the picture of God, that child will be raised in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. And coming into adulthood, then that child would also be a picture of God. So this is where discipleship is centralized in the home from very early in history, explicitly according to Scripture. And I think the promise, even though it doesn't apply directly to us, I think the promise still bears out in a way that is principle. Like when our children are honoring the mothers and fathers, and when mothers and fathers are living in a way that honors God, and they're being the picture of God to their families and to the world in marriage relationship, and the focus of the home is on them to the glory of God, and children are honoring their parents and not rebelling against their parents. I think still practically that works out to create a longevity of society, a longevity of culture. And the more and more we see our society rebelling against the parents and placing the center of attention on the children, the more I think we see society sort of derogating. So this principle I think works out today. I think we see evidence that when children are rebellious against parents, and when culture is built around children rather than parents, when society is built around children rather than parents in the household, that society itself actually ends up crumbling because it's no longer serving the function that God created it to serve. And marriage is no longer serving the function that God created it to serve, which is to be a picture of Him in relationship to His creation, so that He might be known and He might receive glory. All of creation, including the creation of man and woman, was intentional, it was deliberate to bring God glory as the author of creation, and to be God's signature upon and within His creation. So that is the standard we strive for as Christians.